Voters keep saying over and over again, we are not comfortable with this level of immigration. I understand why. It doesn't make you a racist to say that. And yet, the liberal parts of, certainly in America, Alex Padilla said last week, he is our senator here, by reviving Trump's asylum ban, Biden has undermined American values. And then they all stand back and go, we don't want to be called a racist, so we will not make a move on immigration.
Everyone's roasting the left over their failed sanctuary city experiment. And now, Maher's adding fuel to the fire. He says the entire concept was flawed from the start, and claims he even warned the DNC early on, but they didn't listen. Now, that same idea has spiraled into one of the worst migrant crises in recent memory, and Maher isn't holding back anymore. Buckle up, folks. This one's about to get scorching hot.
Again, the same principle as I was saying before about like the reverse of what liberalism really is. Liberalism is, for the sake of humanity and compassion, can we get these people off the streets? And woke is, how dare you ask them to move? This is their home.
They have rights.
No, it's not. There's easily a better solution to this. But instead they put them in hotels? That's your answer, hotels? Could everybody just stop the posturing?
Maher takes a firm stance on what he calls true liberalism, and it's not about turning city streets into open-air shelters. He argues that real compassion means getting the homeless off the streets, not making them comfortable living there. To him, real liberalism tackles the root problems: mental illness, addiction, and unemployment, instead of glorifying homelessness as some alternative lifestyle. He criticizes those who insist the homeless should be left alone, calling that attitude a symptom of the far-left fringe. In his view, refusing to act isn't kindness, it's negligence dressed up as virtue. Maher reminds his audience that liberalism once meant creating solutions that helped people rebuild their lives, not enabling despair in the name of empathy. As he puts it, progress isn't found in ignoring suffering, it's found in ending it.
Don't pretend that you love migrants so much, and then when we send them to you, you don't like them. You know? You're full of and we can see that. Yeah, you like them when it wasn't your problem because you're not a border state. And then when they show up in Chicago and New York, you're like, what are we going to do with these people?
Maher didn't mince words when he addressed the hypocrisy of so-called sanctuary cities. Don't pretend to love migrants, he said. And then when we send them to you, you panic. And honestly, he's got a point. For years, non-border blue states like New York, Illinois, and Massachusetts have proudly championed open borders and limitless compassion, so long as the problem stayed far away. But when buses of migrants started arriving, when shelters overflowed, and when emergency declarations hit the headlines, those same leaders suddenly changed their tone. They love to preach inclusion for the cameras, holding press conferences about empathy and diversity, but when reality shows up at their doorstep, it's a different story. Suddenly, it's what are we going to do with all these people? The hypocrisy is impossible to ignore. It's easy to demand open borders when you're not the one dealing with the consequences. Maher's point burns through the noise. It's not real compassion if it disappears the moment inconvenience arrives. Turns out, some of the loudest voices for sanctuary policies only meant it when their own backyard wasn't the one being flooded.
This was going to come to a neighborhood near you, and it is. We need to control the border. We need to call a state of emergency, and we need to properly fund this national crisis. We need help. We need help, and it's not going to get any better. From this moment on, it's downhill. There is no more room.
That's Mayor Eric Adams, once one of the loudest champions of open borders and proud defender of New York's sanctuary city status. But now, facing a full-blown migrant crisis, he's singing a very different tune. Adams has learned the hard way that the open border dream doesn't work in reality. The shelters are packed, the city's budget is tanking, and frustrated residents are demanding answers. So now he's calling for tighter border control. A striking reversal from the man who once promised to welcome everyone with open arms. It's almost refreshing to see a bit of reality set in. But what about leaders like Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass or California Governor Gavin Newsom? Will they ever admit that the open borders experiment has backfired spectacularly? Not a chance. They'll keep defending the illusion of compassion while their own cities crumble under the weight of policies that were never built to last.
Keep saying over and over again, we are not comfortable with this level of immigration. I understand why. It doesn't make you a racist to say that. And yet, the liberal parts of, certainly in America, Alex Padilla said last week, he is our senator here, By reviving Trump's asylum ban, Biden has undermined American values. And then they all stand back and go, we don't want to be called a racist, so we will not make a move on immigration.
And that right there is the real issue. Plenty of Democrats privately admit that open border policies are putting America's safety and stability at risk, stretching resources to their limits. But they're too scared to say it out loud. Behind closed doors, they see the strain on cities, the spike in crime, the collapsing shelters, and the overwhelmed social programs. Yet, once the cameras turn on, they fall right back in line with the party script. Why? Because telling the truth now comes with consequences. The moment anyone within their ranks dares to question the policy, the fringe left pounces, labeling them xenophobic, heartless, or disloyal. So instead of honesty, we get silence. Instead of real leadership, we get fear. Many Democrats seem more interested in protecting their image than protecting the nation. And that's exactly why this crisis keeps spiraling, because courage has been replaced by cowardice, neatly disguised as political correctness.
Get them at election day. It's happening in Europe right now. That proves it in Europe, and it's going to happen here in America.
There's a real moral reason that we should let people into this country who are suffering
at any number?
No. I mean,
but that's their point. But 64% of Latinos support giving the president authority to shut down the U.S. borders. 62% of registered voters would deport all migrants.
This is where it gets really interesting. According to the statistics Bill Maher cited, even immigrants themselves are against open borders. That's right. The very people the left claims to be protecting are the ones calling for stronger border control. They understand better than anyone the chaos that comes with unchecked immigration. Many of them came here legally, worked tirelessly to build a better life, and now watch in frustration as the system buckles under the weight of those crossing with no accountability. These immigrants know that compassion without structure isn't kindness, it's chaos. They've witnessed firsthand what happens when borders collapse and lawlessness takes over. So, if the very community liberals insist their defending is demanding tighter control, maybe it's time for Democratic leaders to actually listen. Because when those who've lived it are the ones sounding the alarm, ignoring them isn't progressive, it's reckless.
What do you New Yorkers think of how Mayor Eric Adams and Governor Kathy Hochul?
Yes, you pronounced it right.
I take it you're a big fan. Have handled the city's migrant crisis. I saw today they're offering any of these migrants, this sounds like a game show, a plane trip to anywhere in the world. There's policy, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Yeah, that's pure desperation right there. Mayor Eric Adams and Governor Kathy Hochul have officially hit their breaking point with the migrant crisis and decided to get creative. At least, that's what they're telling themselves. Their grand solution? Offering free plane tickets for migrants to relocate elsewhere. Sounds generous on paper, but here's the problem. Nobody's taking those flights. Why? Because these migrants didn't risk everything just to end up anywhere. They came specifically to the United States, chasing the promise they were sold. The plan flopped spectacularly, exposing just how hollow a policy built on slogans really is. Now, the same Democrats who once bragged about being sanctuaries for all are quietly trying to backpedal from the chaos they helped create. They're scrambling to contain the fallout, but can't publicly admit what's obvious, that their own approach failed. Because doing that would mean conceding something they fought hard to deny, that conservatives were right all along.
Some of these places sort of deserve it. I'll ask you this. By saying we're a sanctuary city, like how these terrible racist border states were, and then when they called their bluff and sent the migrants to them, they were like, suddenly they weren't quite so liberal. They're what I call liberal in theory people. No. A lot of people are liberal in theory, and when the migrants arrived, they were like, what the f***?
I'd call it what it is, double standards. The liberals have perfected the art of saying whatever sounds good to the crowd, especially when the cameras are rolling and election season's around the corner. They preach compassion, equality, and inclusion, carefully packaging every word into applause-worthy sound bites. But when those same policies start spiraling out of control, bringing chaos instead of progress, the response is always the same: silence and finger-pointing. When the pressure mounts, they back away, pretending they never supported the very ideas they once proudly championed. The moment their feel-good rhetoric collides with real-world consequences, they run for cover. It's political theater at its finest. Perform empathy when it's convenient. Abandon responsibility when it's not. True leadership means standing by your convictions, even when they blow up in your face. But for too many liberals today, it's not about results, it's about reputation. And that hypocrisy is finally catching up with them.
Part of this is a backlash to how badly Biden handled the immigration situation. It can't just be like come one, come all.
Which
Dude,
it
there's
was.
there's plenty of room here, and we need
Room.
there's plenty of room in America. Come on, there's no lack of room in America.
But it's never about room, it's about resources and about like having countries have to have a border. It just can't be, I mean, they've done surveys and something like 200 million people around the world when asked, would you come to America if you could? Yes, I would. Why wouldn't they? Lots of countries, excuse me, are and they would love to be here. You can't
The places aren't, but
well, they are.
I mean,
that's why they want to come.
And it's usually because of America, what America's done.
Bill Maher sums it up perfectly. It's not about space, it's about resources. America may be vast, wealthy, and powerful, but even the greatest nation on earth has limits. You can't keep inviting the world in when housing, healthcare, and social systems are already stretched to the breaking point. Compassion without capacity isn't noble. It's self-destruction disguised as virtue. Maher argues that instead of flooding across borders, migrants should channel that same determination into rebuilding their own countries, confronting corruption, demanding accountability, and creating real change where they are. Because running to America can't be the only plan. Every nation has a responsibility to fix itself. As Maher puts it, if the US collapses under the weight of everyone else's problems, then nobody wins. Saying no isn't cruelty, it's realism, and it's the only way to ensure a nation's survival.
Immigrants don't like it that the left seems to have this unrelenting negativity toward the country that these immigrants work so hard to get here.
Good point.
They really worked hard to get here. And when Trump says, I think a lot of them are going, yeah, you're right, it's where I came from. Why do you think I got on the ocean on a raft or walked 1,000 miles? Because I was living in paradise? There are places that are in this world, and the immigrants know.
Maher might stir controversy, but he's right about one thing. There are plenty of places far less desirable than America. That's exactly why millions risk everything to come here, for safety, opportunity, and the promise of a better life. But here's the harsh reality. Welcoming everyone without proper screening, documentation, or accountability doesn't make us compassionate. It makes us exposed. Unchecked immigration isn't kindness, it's chaos waiting to unfold. We don't know who's coming in, what their intentions are, or how our communities will absorb the impact. America can stay a beacon of hope, but only if it protects the very foundations that make it worth coming to: order, law, and stability. Ignore that, and soon this country could start to mirror the very places people are fleeing from. In the end, Maher's message cuts through all the noise. America's compassion cannot come at the cost of its survival. Sanctuary cities have collapsed under hypocrisy. Blue states are quietly backtracking. And even immigrants are calling for stronger borders. Yet the left refuses to face the obvious. Open borders don't save anyone. They endanger everyone. True liberalism isn't about catchy slogans. It's about real solutions. Until Democrats accept that a nation without control is no nation at all, this crisis will only deepen. America's heart may be vast, but its resources and patience are not endless. And with that, we close today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more content just like this.